Hey everyone, it's Manera and welcome to another coloring gathering. Today's color along coloring gathering is all about using silver and gold, and I'm working on from the color along coloring gatherings book that's available on my website Manera.com. In today's video, we're going to not only color using silver and gold as our theme for our coloring page today. But we're also going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about, and you're going to listen, I guess. Hope you'll get some value out of this. I'm going to talk about adding creativity to your daily routine. And a lot of people talk about how they just don't have the time. And we're going to talk about that today. And we're going to discuss how important it is and how to actually carve out that time. So I've dug around my studio today for some silver and golds, and I've come up with Crayola crayon silver and Crayola crayon gold. And I also am going to use the silver and gold gel pens from my Just Create glitter gel pens that are available on in my Etsy shop and Manera.etsy.com, which I'll put a link in the bottom of this video also. But we have a silver pen here, and I have a gold pen. So we're going to be using silver and gold as our theme today. Now, sometimes we like to, which I've talked about this in the past with other videos and other pages that we've colored, that you kind of want to make the silver and gold the star of the show type thing. So I do have a piece of paper behind here. And I want to incorporate a few different techniques. This is kind of a complicated page. So how can we say, okay, maybe not all silver and gold, but what can we do to get going with the silver and gold? So a few things that I'm going to do is, one of them is I'm going to use this homemade rubbing plate that I've created just using some masking tape. There's previous videos where we've done this. And I'll link a video to textures with tape color along at the end of this video. And this has some just masking tape on top of each other. And the way this works is you just place it underneath your coloring page or the area in which you want to color it, and you color on top of it. It works best with crayons or chalk pastels or colored pencils, something that's soft, that's going to pick up all of the textures that are on that. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of the items that are in this coloring page, for example, maybe the center of the flower or maybe some leaves in the background, and use some crayons on those or some gel pens as we're moving along. And then we're going to take our silver and gold crayon and silver and gold gel pen, and we're going to kind of make things pop. So I'm going to get started, and the first thing I'm going to get started on is this one because it's calling my name. And I'm going to color this flower with silver. So, and I just want this one to pop, and you'll see what I'm talking about once I get going on this. So, a lot of people say, well, I really want to be able to color. I want to be able to draw. I want to be able to paint. I want to be able to pursue some sort of creative activity in my life, but I just don't have the time. And, I put things off, and I say I'm going to color, or I say I'm going to paint, and then, everything else comes up, whether it's cooking or cleaning or going to work or whatever it is. And how do you incorporate that creative time, and how do you make that important? Well, before we go into a deep dive of actually how to do that, let's think about something first of all. I always believe that you participate in things that you want to participate in. If you are not interested in running, for example, which comes first to my top of my mind right now because I'm really not someone that's interested in running. Maybe you are, and I think that's great. But if you're not interested in that, then you're not going to do it. You're going to keep putting it off and putting it off. So whatever that creative activity is that you are wanting to get involved in, or you think should be part of your daily activity or part of your daily routine, think about whether or not it's something you are really interested in. Are you forcing it? Are you forcing yourself to color? Are you forcing yourself to paint? Because if you really want to do it, think about what you're doing instead. Are you watching TV? So, are you reading a book? So the first thing you need to do before you try to carve out any of that time is you have to want to do it. Nobody wants to do something that they don't want to do, and certainly nobody wants to be forced to do something that they don't want to do. Or, I mean, I don't want to be forced to do anything I don't want to do. I don't know about you. What do you think? Let me know in the comments about what you think about that. That first thing, right? To have that want. Just to be able to want, just to want to do it. I'm going to use some green here, and I'm going to color some of those leaves, and I'm going to use this rubbing plate here, okay? And see how that's just kind of picking up that texture right there? So I'm just going to go over my leaves as we're chatting first, and just kind of make things pop out like that. Want them to just stand out as we're moving along. So once you've established that this is what I want to paint, for example, or I want to color, for example, and you have decided that that is the activity or the creative activity that you would like to do and pursue, what do you do to get that as part of your daily routine? You know, a while back I had decided that I would work on a painting every single day. And of course, other things had to be eliminated from my life in order for me to do that. I couldn't just add it I had to carve out the time. So one of the things that I did was, I did a few things. First of all, I stopped watching, I reduced the amount of time I was watching TV in order to do that. And I didn't do it begrudgingly. I really wanted to do it. I didn't want to, wasn't something that I was forcing myself to do. It wasn't something that I was missing as far as missing TV. I mean, I remember for a little while, I think it was a whole year, several years back. This was, I think, before the pandemic. I had stopped watching TV completely for an entire year. And personally, I think it made a huge difference. Because I started to get involved in other things. So, you know, our mind absorbs what we see, what we hear, whether it's positive or negative. So it's important to make sure that you are absorbing what you want to absorb and absorbing whatever it is. I mean, it's just like you eating junk food versus eating healthy food. So whatever you use for media or for whatever you're pursuing as far as what you're taking in as watching TV or what activity you're engaging in. So that's why I think it's huge and very, very important that you pursue something that's creative that you actually want to do. Because if you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it. And you're not going to like it. And you're just it's going to become a chore. So that's the first thing, I think, is to carve out that time for something that you like. So you could carve out the time in the morning. You could carve out the time during the day. Whatever it is, to be able to carve out that time and set aside a specific time. By the way, I've left my rubbing plate underneath here, and it's making no difference with the gel pens, just in case you're saying to yourself, but what happened to the rubbing plate? Is it still under there? It is. I'm not worried about it at all. I'm just leaving it the way it is. And I'm not going to bother with it at this point. So you've got to carve out that time. Maybe it's something in the morning. Maybe you start your day with a quick little sketch. Maybe you're sitting there having some coffee, having your morning cup of joe, and you say, give me that little sketchbook. I'm just going to do some doodles, or maybe I am going to color a coloring page just for 5 minutes, even if it's just 5 minutes of creativity. And, you know, some people do that with puzzle books. That's another thing is that a creativity thing? It could be, because you definitely are sparking something that inside your brain and being able to kind of get the juices flowing. So carving out that time. So you've got that time put aside, whether it's in the morning, first thing in the morning, while you're sitting there getting ready for your day. Maybe it's a quiet time. Maybe you get up earlier than the rest of the household gets up. This way you can have that quiet time. I know that I do not like to get up too late. I'd like to have my quiet, my alone time in the morning, and be able to, think, or I don't know. Before I face the day, I want to be able to be alone and to be quiet and deal with whatever's in my head first, whether that's being creative or whether it's just kind of sitting and thinking. I don't know, brainstorming, for example. Maybe you just want to brainstorm some different ideas in a notebook. That type of thing. The other thing is that it's about the process. It's not about how good it looks in the end. And I think that that is key, because we're not here to make things look fancy all the time. We're here to make things look good. Well, we're here to make ourselves feel good. Okay? So that's why we want to make sure that we can just kind of brainstorm or set that time aside to think of some different things that you could do in your life. So to have that creative activity. The other thing you could do is throughout the day, if you are lucky enough, you could take some short breaks to just kind of just take a break. And instead of, take a 5-minute break and just color a little bit. Or you're on the phone, for example, and you're mindlessly doodling or coloring or something like that. So that's a good way to carve out that time and to take it to a different level as far as keeping your brain creative. You could have some just kind of doodle or write down some random thoughts, and that could be a good prompt to move on to something else. As far as that's going to make you kind of think of something else. Sometimes I just feel like, okay, I just need to sit here and just think for a few minutes. I don't really need to do anything. I just need to think. Anybody else have that happen? Let me know in the comments if that's something that happens to you. You just need to have some thinking time and just do something else, and it'll prompt you to do something else. Right? So it can refresh your mind. So that quick creative break can just kind of refresh you and perk you up a little bit. And it's just kind of a meditative way of doing it, where you're emptying your mind. So it doesn't take much. It's like a power nap, I guess. Which I guess I'm thinking of a power nap today because I'm having a tired day. But I always try to make sure that I set aside X amount of time. And I say X because it's not always the same amount of time every day to be able to do something. I feel a huge difference when I don't. I definitely do not feel like myself when I have not done something creative for the day. So it's important to kind of take the breaks. It just kind of gives you a new perspective about what you're thinking about, or maybe what you're working on. Gives you new ideas. And, of course, it's better than the scroll, right? I'm trying to stop the scroll lately and stop the scroll of the internet and looking and looking and looking and looking. So I've been doing a few different things lately to stop that scroll and to step away more from social media than I have in the past. Whether it's painting or creativity. And one of the things that I've added is I just recently joined Ancestry.com in hopes to get some information about kind of creating a family tree. But it's really taken the place of that scroll for me, which I really am happy about, because it was getting to be too much, the scroll. Looking at nothing is what was happening, which is very annoying. It's like looking in the empty refrigerator and thinking, what am I going to eat? Oh, I shouldn't have put pink right there. That's my dog Grace in the background barking because it is so windy here today. It's incredible. Windows are rattling. I don't know what's happening. I didn't expect this today. The other way that you can incorporate creativity in your life, let's see what she's barking at. Hey, Grace. The other way you can incorporate creativity in your life is to add some art or different objects that stimulate your creativity to your environment. So add some things to your environment, to your house, to your living room, to your interior decor. Hang some art on the walls. Hang your own art on the walls. Don't be afraid to hang it up. I mean, think about kids. What do we do with kids' artwork when they show us something? It goes on the fridge. The most important. It's like the showcase. Put it under a magnet on the fridge. Do that now. Do that now with your own artwork, and enjoy what you have created. Take a look later on and say, wow, I didn't really realize that particular color was going to look like that as I was adding it to it. And I'm just adding some pinks here to some of these flowers. And using kind of my gold as my, kind of as my accent. And not really worrying about how this looks or how well I'm coloring, for example. There's some leaves behind here. Here's a little leaf over here. A leaf. Here's more leaves up in this corner right here. And I still have that rubbing plate down there too. So think about those different ways that you can actually incorporate some artwork into your environment. Where can you put some art? Can you just put it on your fridge? Can you hang it on your walls? Don't be afraid of what you pick, because it's for you. So you are the only one. I'm just going to pivot this. You are the only one that is going to, well, maybe there's others that will enjoy it or that will reap the benefits of it. But it's important to have some sort of artwork around you. Giving yourself the ability to kind of have different creativity sparks throughout your day. Maybe it'll turn into something else, kind of a ripple effect of what one thing may spark you to do versus another. So there's my silver there. All right, I've got a couple of these other flowers down here. Let's move on to these other flowers that are in the bottom here. Now I think I'm going to put some yellow. Do your crayons look crazy like this? Here's some yellow right here. And I want to make these like very textured, because I like how my silver and my gold is more solid. So I'm not minding, or I'm purposely making sure that my flowers don't look so perfect. I am going to leave some white space in this coloring page. So whatever I've colored up to the middle section, I'm leaving. Let's add some more yellow to this guy right here. And I'll put some yellow here also. And I don't really have the rubbing plate underneath these particular flowers, so I'm not really worried about that part. Let's add some silver to the middle of this. These pens are very, very juicy. The ink never clogs. It just flows. These are available in my Etsy shop. Even though I have gold on the middle of this one, I'm putting gold on the outside too. And then I kind of like having these like stems with either silver or gold. Now I'm thinking maybe I should add some like hot pink into this too, for like maybe some little, I don't know, some little doodads. Little accents, I guess. Just pivot a little bit here. Turn my page just a tad. So some people keep kind of like a notebook, like with daily observations. I don't go that far. You know, how much more do I need to write down and remember? Maybe people post it on Facebook and they post kind of different things, kind of as their memory, which I always wonder about that, because will that really be there? I'm not sure if it ever will. What if it goes away one day? Am I gonna? If I did that, would I regret it that it went away? Or I guess people do that also, so it pops up in their memories. Are you a person that does that? Let me know in the comments if you're somebody that does that. So you can keep it kind of like an observations journal type thing, and you write down things that maybe stand out to you, or you sketch it. Maybe you sit quietly and you sketch something that you like. Maybe you go to a park, or you sit and you look out the window and you sketch your neighbor's mailbox. You know, sketch your neighbor's mailbox as you're looking outside, looking across the street. Oh, that's so funny. I spy with my little eye my neighbor's mailbox. Or you can have like different patterns or sounds. And it really, I think, when you do that, it just really deepens your appreciation for what's around you. Especially patterns, I think. Because you may come across a pattern and you may think to yourself, well, you know, that is really something that I'd like to include somewhere. And then, but if you kept like a little sketch of it, then you can kind of go back. Some people call it a tickle file, where you can just kind of keep going back to different files to find different information about patterns and what to use in other artwork. So just kind of being an observer of life, basically, can be just as creative as anything else. Put some leaves in the background here with this kind of a light green color. Here's some leaves here. I'm going to move my rubbing plate up to the top. And then I've got my, I think I'll add some lavender here for these flowers right here. And I have the rubbing plate behind that. You can really see the difference in this one. The other thing is that cooking is a great way to express yourself creatively. So take different, I mean, maybe you're someone who bakes cookies or decorates cakes, that type of thing. So that's a huge thing, huge part of all of it. So maybe you are somebody that likes to cook or experiment with different things and experiment with different type of baking or cooking or that type of thing. So that's a good way to be creative. So I think that the key to all of it is to be able to really set aside that time. And I think that's where we kind of fall short, because we've got a lot of different things being, I don't want to say the word forced, but we are faced with so much. Here we are in 2024. The world is changing at a rapid pace. Technology is really changing at a rapid pace. And I think that we really feel like we can't keep up sometimes, or many of us feel like we can't keep up. And, you know, some people talk about shiny object syndrome, where people say, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. And, you know, they never focus on anything that they are doing in the first place, but rather they focus on a million things, and they never really complete what was supposed to be completed in the first place. I guess, right? But, and sometimes I wonder if I have that, but I don't know. Is that I don't think, I don't necessarily think that that is what my problem is. Now that you've all become, Lucy from Peanuts for me here, but in hanging out your shingle. But sometimes I do think to myself, do I jump around from different things? But then I think, no, there's a lot of things I just want to try in my life, or I want to be able to do. And I often think to myself, how am I ever going to have the time to do it all? And I guess I'm not. I mean, I have to be realistic. I am not going to have the time to do it all. Let's face it. I'm not going to live forever. None of us will. And I have to kind of pick my battles and pick what I would like to do. And maybe, I don't pick how I spend my time. So I think that that's when it really goes back to like what I was saying at the beginning of today's video is, are you involved in something that you really, really want to be involved in? Or are you just going through the motions and saying, well, I guess I'm supposed to do this. Even though I hate it, I'm doing it. I don't know. Let me know if you can relate to that. Because to me, that's so, so important. There's so many things that I just don't have an interest in doing. So why am I going to do them? But then there's so many things that I do have an interest in doing. And I just haven't had the time in life, I guess, to do it. So I just also think that being able to pursue any type of creative activity is just going to relax you. So it becomes more of a meditation for me, or for many people. Some people sit and meditate and they, this should not have been the silver pot. Well, let's pretend it should have been. Some people sit and meditate and they empty their heads. Some people have a hard time emptying their heads. Some people sit and they think to themselves, my head is so cluttered with so much stuff and I cannot stop my racing thoughts. And people are criticized and told, well, you got to stop the racing thoughts. You got to be able to empty your head. Well, maybe you don't need to empty your head. Maybe you need to sit quietly and just let those thoughts pop into your head, or go and pop right back out, and give them the time, and you give them give them center stage for a minute and let them go into your head. So coloring or any type of art, for example, any type of creative pursuit, kind of in the background of it all, you can be kind of thinking of those things, whether you're emptying your head or you are filling you're thinking of different things, rather than getting all, concerned. I'm going to get the hiccups, by the way. Rather than getting all concerned that you are not meditating the right way, or you're not, being mindful the right way. There is no right way, in my opinion. You just have to, as long as you walk away relaxed and you walk away feeling like you have accomplished something, and maybe that something is just that it was to, still your mind and become relaxed and relax yourself and enjoy the process, that type of thing. All right, so let's see what we got going on here. Move back to here. I'm going to put the silver right here. And then I kind of like this red color here. It's kind of funky. This is brick red. And let's see what other color we can add to here. I think I'm going to add some pink to this flower right here. This is kind of a busy looking flower here at the top. And again, I am leaving white space here. So I guess my whole point of today's discussion is to kind of just think about what in your life brings you the most joy on a creative level, and do that. And carve out that time. because that's when it's going to really come into play, is when you start to carve out that time and you've got to make time for what you want. Same thing with friends. I always think that if you can't find time to hang around with me, then maybe it's not meant to be. We're not supposed to be hanging around. I don't know. See, I forgot to put that little silver thing there, but we're going to pretend that I did. And I want these to be kind of scribbly. And I want them to have that little bit of texture. Put some green behind here. Green behind here and here. And also back here. You know, the greenness. Greenness. It's the greenness of it all. Now, I see some little tiny dots, I guess. Move this up a little bit. And put some of this red on these. Purposely coloring them kind of in a circle. And then I'm going to get some, where's my silver crayon? There it is, right here. I'm going to leave this section white here. Put a little bit of green right here. A little bit of silver on that, can barely see it. And then I've got to get some green going on back here, behind here. On the behinds. Put some silver right there. And then I am going to take a tiny bit of this pink, of this hibiscus color. Which is right here. I love this color. And I'm going to color these little things right here. See if there's any more of those. Well, I could color this thing right here. I don't see any more of those little doodads. Oh, here they are. I don't see any more. All right. So I think that we just really need to make sure that we do something that we like. Do something that you like to create that, to keep that creativity going in your life. And it doesn't have to be anything, you know, fancy. It could be anything that is creativity. You carve out the time to do it. Set aside some time with friends. Set aside some time alone. Maybe you don't want to be creative with friends. Maybe you want to be creative when you're by yourself. And I guess you can also challenge yourself. But don't make a big deal about it so that you can actually make it happen. You know, sometimes we set our standards way too high and then we feel like, oh my God, I can't even complete this. What have I done type thing. So I think that you just want to take it slow. So thanks for watching today and joining me for this. I'll see you again at the next color along, and I just hope you have a great day. Thanks so much.